Hey, Bobby.
Yes, Lauren.
You know what's really creepy?
No.
You.
Me?
You.
We talking about me today?
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about why Bobby is creepy today.
I didn't prepare for this.
That's why I'm going to catch you off guard.
Crap.
No, today we're actually going to be talking about why parenting is creepy.
Ah, yes. Parenting.
Because for people who don't know, we are parents.
We are.
As unbelievable as that is, we are parents to a 1.5-year-old daughter, and she's awesome.
She's awesome.
I feel like every parent says that. They're like, my kid's amazing.
Not every parent. I'm sure there's a select few.
Some parents are like, I hate my kid.
Probably more than you think.
I mean, I guess fair.
Some bad parents out there and bad kids.
Yeah,
because of their bad parents.
I'm definitely learning through being a parent that not everybody should be a parent.
For sure. I mean,
not everybody is ready. Oh, I mean, nobody's ready.
No one's.
Let's be ready. Let's be real.
No one's ready. Really, no one's really ready.
You could be more stable.
Yeah. You could think you're ready, but you're not really ready.
You're not really ready.
I feel like there's never like, I feel like my parents are still they're still parents to me.
They're always your parents.
Yeah. So it's constantly, changing things.
It's forever.
It is forever. That's the creepy part.
That it's forever. It
Even
is.
when I'm dead and gone, I'm still her parent in a way. My memory will live on.
Oh my God. Getting
Everything
deep.
I do will impact her in this life or another.
That is true though.
Yeah.
You think about them where you're like, my dad taught me this, or I am like this because of my dad.
Yeah, exactly.
I also think when you become a parent, you start reflecting more on your parents, which has been interesting.
Definitely has been interesting with that reflection and learning and thinking about, wow, the moments that I'm having right now with Melody, my parents had with me. And I was a little 20-something pound little kid that they would just pick up and move from one place to another.
That's what parenting is.
It's just moving
your
picking
child
them up,
from one place.
No,
from a
don't do
dangerous
that.
Place
Here's
to
this,
a
and then they
safe
walk
place.
back to it, and you just pick them up again. Yeah, I definitely think my shoulder's all messed up from just picking her up and holding her a lot.
Oh yeah, I never had back. To be fair, I also went through pregnancy, so that probably messed me up as well. But I've never had back problems really, or arm problems until having her.
I mean, we are getting older, so yeah.
We're coming in hot with the first couple episodes of this show. I was trying to think of the most interesting topics that people always ask us to talk about.
Yeah, current relative topics that people want to know about.
So yeah, YouTube and now parenting, because people are always asking about Melody and how we're doing.
Yeah.
So
how are you doing? How are you doing as a parent?
I'm doing good.
1 year and 7 months and a couple days in. Plus the 9 months of carrying her in.
It's funny. I was about to say I'm tired a lot, but I also think I was tired a lot before I had a baby. I just have to push through it more now.
Yeah, there's definitely that. You learn how to push through things more, and you get more numb to that. Waking up early. I think I've gotten better at like waking up because I'm almost a little more like every day I'm excited to go see her.
Aww.
It's true. I'm never like, we didn't have her and there was no like real need for me to get up at that moment besides something to do. Like every morning when she's awake, it's like, all right, gotta go get her. Can't just like leave her there. I mean, you could, she'll be okay, but it's not ideal. Was there like a big aha moment for you when like you were like, oh, I'm a mom now. I'm a parent now?
Not really. I
That's what I was.
Don't think I've had one.
I think for me, the birth, like that was the most aha or the biggest like where I felt like my life changed. Like
the actual birth.
the birth.
I think I was so out of it that I was not.
Well, you were probably just so relieved to get her out.
I was in such shock during it happened so fast.
I definitely felt a big change once the doctor just plopped her onto you, and it was like, oh, it begins. It has begun. Everything up until then was like when and what if and all this, but now it's like, oh, here she is. Time to go. Game time.
Well, they do say there's that saying that like a woman becomes a mom when she gets pregnant, which I guess is true because
was that the aha moment when you came into our bedroom?
Yeah,
and
probably.
Gave me
Maybe
the
that was it,
thing,
right?
And you're like,
before she was even here.
What does this say? What does this say? I'm like, oh, so you're pregnant.
Yeah, I was not. It's funny. I was it wasn't an accident. We were trying, but it had been like a little bit.
It wasn't that long.
It was a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months.
So I just wasn't. I in my brain thought it was going to take a long time.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't expecting it.
You would say you're more pessimistic, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're probably being pessimistic about it.
I feel like if you are more pessimistic in this world, it's like a defense mechanism. Yes. I don't get disappointed often. Yeah.
That's good.
I don't get disappointed often. I just am like, yep, I expect
the worst, hope for the even worser.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad characteristic to have. I think maybe if you notice that I'm talking differently, it's because I'm trying to practice not saying like.
Oh, like.
And and I wasn't going to say anything, but now I'm trying.
You're being more aware of it? I'm speaking
more deliberately, and I don't want people to think,
oh,
is she okay?
She's reading off a script.
Yeah, or is she all right?
Yeah.
I am. I'm trying to just be more deliberate with my words because I was listening back to episode 2, and I caught myself saying
how many
like
times you like.
And I feel as if I was about to
is
say
that your new word?
Like I feel as if see, I did. I said
it's hard.
Feel as if you point it out, then you start to notice it. But if I hadn't pointed it out, a lot of people might not have even noticed.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I notice.
Did you?
I always notice. Well, I've told you.
When I say it?
Yeah, I've told you for a long time. Like when you had like when you had opportunities
when I go on
with
rants,
YouTube and Twitch and whatnot, I said to try and not say it as much.
Yes.
I would notice.
Sorry, we're going on a tangent.
Yeah, a little sidetracked here.
But yes, when I started to have to do interviews or like podcasts.
The Minecraft event.
Yes. Oh yeah.
It's hard. Because
when you're nervous, you don't speak as deliberately. So I'm trying to stay.
Yeah. When you're having a normal conversation with someone, you're just free flowing, not really worrying about it. But when it's being recorded or live streamed, your ideas almost happen faster than your mouth can get them out.
Yes.
That's me in most conversations. I feel like my mind is moving so quick and I try to like get everything out.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But sometimes you can say like, it makes sense in a sentence.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to figure it out. This is my practice run on this podcast. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh,
the birth and just your aha moment.
Yeah. Well, they say that most women's aha moment is the moment they get pregnant.
Yeah,
because that's when you have to technically start being a mom because everything I eat and do could affect the baby already. And then father's aha moment is usually like when they're born.
I think so. I think that was my aha. That's when it felt like there was no real, when you see in movies and TV shows when drastic life changes happens, they're portrayed in such a, oh, it's happening now and some crazy, I don't know, thing. But in real life, you're not just like supercharged with parenthood energy or everything is different.
No, you ease into it. It took months before we weren't very scared.
Oh, yeah.
I was terrified in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's why parenting is creepy because
yeah.
People kind of prepare you. Like I thought I did the most research I could possibly do leading up to it.
I did little to none.
Yes.
It's funny though, because I used to be more about research. And I think as I got older, I learned that you can prepare for things as much as you want, but in the end, it really just comes down to how you handle and react to the situation.
But there's certain things you can't just
No, for sure.
learn by
Yes, I
experience
know.
because when you learn, it's too
The
late.
technical things, but the broad sense of becoming a parent, you can read all the books and try to watch as many videos and whatnot. But in the end, it's just how it handles you. Because for me, I think you're putting almost unrealistic expectations of yourself. Oh, this is how it's supposed to be, or this is how this person handles it. I'm going to do the same. And then you start having different emotions or different reactions, and it's almost even more pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meant more so I was preparing what their schedule should be like.
Yeah.
That was the worst part of the beginning. Yeah, there is a lot of expectation because people want you to breastfeed, and sometimes that's not possible, even though you try so hard. Some women's bodies just can't produce enough. Then there's napping. How long should they nap? Where should they nap?
Do you wake them up when they're napping
Do
too
you
long?
wake them up if they're napping too long? What if they don't nap at all? What do you do? Like,
Are they breathing? Are they alive?
yeah, it's I definitely had really bad postpartum anxiety. I still probably
Yeah.
do, but it's definitely gotten better. But at one point we were trying to plan stuff and I was just getting too nervous about what's going to happen to the baby's nap schedule, what's going to happen to Dexter around all these people. And I remember at one point you were like, well, maybe we just shouldn't, if you're going to feel this way, we shouldn't see anybody because it's not worth it then. And
we
then
also had Melody in the middle of a pandemic, which didn't make things much easier for us between the being pregnant and dealing with that and getting COVID while you're pregnant and then going to the hospital and wearing a mask and then testing positive for COVID.
Can I also say, moms specifically get so much crap from people about how I was going to say how they're momming, how good of a mom they are, what they're doing. And I knew it was coming from people. I know it's something I'm going to have to deal with. I remember having purple hair. I thought, are moms going to make fun of me? Are they going to think different of me because I'm a mom with purple hair? Like, it's a stigma thing. Even if I had like a bunch of tattoos, piercings, like I'm telling you, moms are very critical. And I get it because most of them just want the best for their child and they want to make sure whoever's around them is safe. And sometimes there's still stigmas attached.
I think
to
it's
people.
because of what our society has been like before,
haha, now you're doing it.
Yeah, now I'm doing it. I think the problem is that our society put all this pressure on women to raise kids while the husband would just work and make money.
It's
and that's obviously
readjusting.
been changing in the past.
But what I was
20-ish
saying
years?
was when I put out that video saying I had COVID,
Oh,
I was getting people saying I was a bad mom,
yeah.
even though I was
You
pregnant.
were terrible. How could you get
and
COVID?
didn't leave the house, but I was the bad person for allowing myself to get pregnant. Even though for years, like my mom I'm pretty sure she had pneumonia or I had pneumonia, something when she was pregnant. And I was fine, but I'm sure nobody was shaming her for getting sick back then.
Well, there's no social media, so it was whatever
that
small
too.
amount of people you would talk to.
Yeah.
And
But that's
know
a
you
scary,
better.
that's a scary side of parenting. People shaming you for no
Shaming and
reason.
social media shaming.
Or making you question how good of a parent you are, even though you know you're doing your best.
Yeah. I think one of the hardest parts for me was going from 0 to 60, from me never really taking care of a kid at all, holding a baby, changing a baby, feeding a baby.
I mean, I didn't either.
I know. So you can jump. You can share this thought with me as well. How we really had no experience with babies. We weren't baby people. We knew we wanted kids. We weren't sure when, and then it just kind of happened, or we just kind of got to a part in our lives where we were ready. But thankfully, your mom and my mom were here to help. Your mom stayed for a month and a half and was really helpful. My mom coming over and helping was extremely helpful.
Yeah,
and
even
I think
right now she's watching.
Yeah, my mom's
upstairs
right now
we can
watching
do
right now.
this.
So having help is for sure, a good thing.
It would be way scary if you had no support system. And there are people who have no support systems.
And I think that's another thing I've learned, just to have so much more respect for single caregivers, single moms, single dads, people who have multiple kids. Like,
yeah. That's me clapping. You don't know.
Well done. If you've raised a child on your own and they are multiple
children
and they're good people, well done, because that is I mean, crazy.
Crazy.
I'm sure I could do it, but holy moly.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of physical and mental energy. I think, honestly, just taking care of a kid, just being a babysitter essentially, is for sure
Even
one of the
not a
hardest
parent,
jobs.
just a good caregiver.
The days when I'm in charge of Melody all by myself, which is very few and not many of them, I'm not exhausted, but it's not easy. A lot of people think, oh, you just do the no.
Well, you think of even just thinking of simple things like trying to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Or cooking yourself food. Those things are not easy when you have a walk. Like it was easier when she was younger. And I remember thinking, oh, she'll just get easier as she gets older.
Things changed.
She gets easy every time she gets easy or better with one thing, something else is like a new thing you have to deal with. Yeah. So back when she was sitting in, you could sit her somewhere and she wouldn't move and she would just like be happy sitting there and staring at a wall. I don't know, her toys. That was still the part where she was waking up in the middle of the night and you couldn't sleep all night. Now she sleeps all night, but all day she has all this energy and constantly wants to do
everything,
things.
Be wherever you are and go from here to there. Yeah, that was going from 0 to 60 and was very challenging. We've obviously gotten adjusted to that, a year
I feel
and
like
a half
I've
in.
always run at 60. I've run at 100 miles per hour.
I meant more so just going from zero experience to like.
Oh, I gotcha. I thought you meant like how your days go.
I remember when
I was always running at 100 miles
I remember
an
when
hour doing
I remember when my
things.
friend Ian described when he first had his kid and he was like the nurses gave him the baby and he was just like, really? Like we can take her now? Like
oh yeah, it's scary.
It's on us now. There's
when we left the hospital, Bobby was really excited because he to be fair, he had to sleep on a tiny couch.
I didn't
on the
have
side
much
of
of any sleep.
Yeah, and the nurses come in like every 2 hours. There's so many memes on TikTok about it where they try to be as nice as possible because they know you're absolutely exhausted and terrified if you're a new parent. But they have to come in like every 2 hours, check your blood pressure.
Yeah. I mean,
hey, sweetheart.
I think I had like cabin fever of just being in that small.
But I
room.
loved it because we were we had help at all times if we needed it.
I remember the one nurse was like, she came in and I was attempting to change a diaper and just like, can you just show me again? And
yeah, we kept asking the nurses.
It's funny how you go from being so.
I feel like whenever we decide to have another kid, we're not going to be able to do that anymore because they're going to say,
what?
this is try to entice the
fine.
nurses to change their diapers.
That's fine. I'm a pro at it now. I'll change any diaper.
But wasn't that one of those things you were so scared of?
Not scared, but just like intimidated because especially when they're so young, they're so fragile and you're a little apprehensive how to like maneuver them.
Now when you change her diaper, it's just like a battle royale between her trying to get away.
She's not bad. No. It was also just a big drastic change for me because before we had Melody, there was this change of me being your editor to not, and it happened before we even had her. So I didn't really have a job.
Yeah.
I was more or less semi-retired for a couple months, playing golf, playing my video game, helping out Lauren with stuff, doing stuff around the house. So for me, it was like going from being retired in a way to being a parent. And I think I set myself up a little bit for not failure, but for such a drastic change. I wish I had adapted to it a little bit better. I'm still obviously changing to this new lifestyle, and I'm a lot better than I was when I first started. But yeah, it was just a challenge for me, just going from ultimate, having pretty much freedom to do whatever I want.
You say you're still adapting?
No, not really. I mean, I've adapted.
I've adapted.
Yeah. I mean, there's still things you have to adapt to.
I think your hill you still haven't climbed yet is watching her all by yourself for at least 24 to 48 hours. I've done. No, you haven't.
Thought I did.
No, your mom's come to help. But
Well,
I have.
time.
I've done it.
Yes.
It's fine. For me, I run on coffee and anxiety. I'm great.
Yeah. I will say one of the like funny, creepy things about the early like couple months is so early on, Melody, when she started like finding her voice, she would do this little like,
yeah, It's called growling.
Growling.
It's
She'd basically,
it's a thing that some babies do, which we were unaware.
yeah, which we thought was really funny and cute. We called it her dinosaur noise.
Yeah.
And
Or the
then when you're
grunge.
feeding her, so we have a light in her room that we use. It has all different colors, but we use it mostly for a red light because if you didn't know, red light helps best with your eyes with night vision, so your eyes can adjust more easily. So we have a red light in her room when we go in to feed her and whatnot. So we would go in when she'd wake up randomly between 2 and 5 a.m. when she was hungry or whatever it was. And we'd just be holding her, trying to, lull her back to sleep. And she'd just be staring at you. There's a red light, and she's just going,
At like 3 in the morning.
And if I tell you this now, as a non-parent, you're probably like, wow, that is extremely creepy. Wherean I'm sure if you're a parent listening to this, you're like, yep, been there, done that. That's because when you hear that, you're like, wow, that's super creepy. I mean, at 3 o'clock in the morning, walls are all red from the light, and she's making this sound, and all these crazy thoughts going through your head.
You know what was the worst part? I know on the last episode of the podcast, I talked about I would watch Found Flicks, which was a horror movie. For anybody that didn't listen to last episode, it's a YouTube channel where they talk about horror movies in detail, scene by scene. So it feels like you watch the horror movie, but it's not as scary. But all of those, I remember I watched, I forget what it's called. Hereditary, I think it's called. It's it's voted one of the scariest movies of all time. I think it's Hereditary. Somebody will know. But there's a scene in that.
I'm looking it up. Go on.
It's horrifying. I have not watched the movie. I watched the Found Flicks, and every time I would wake up with Melody, and I would be sitting there with her, waiting for her to fall back asleep after I would feed her. Is it Hereditary? Hereditary.
So,
there's a scene
at
the end of that I'm not going to say on this because I will probably get demonetized. But literally, it's in the ending of the movie, and I would just look up and just picture that. And I would be sitting there just frozen in fear because I'm picturing an ending of a horror movie while holding my newborn baby while she's going, ah.
By the way, our phones are obviously, we all know this listening to us. We were saying Hereditary. I typed in HERI and it autofilled it.
That's crazy.
And it was the first thing was the movie. So,
Bobby, you know what's really creepy?
What?
Finding the right doctor.
Yeah, really?
I mean, think about it. Do you want anybody being your doctor?
No, not anybody.
Exactly. And today's sponsor, ZocDoc, can help you find the right doctor. And what's funny is I used ZocDoc personally. I think you did too, didn't I?
I think I used it a while ago, yeah.
So I use ZocDoc I've used them for years. Yeah. And it's great for people like me who have lots of anxiety and need to make the right decision or feel like they're going to try and make the right decision. Getting as much information up front. Like if I'm going to a restaurant or if we're going anywhere, I need to look up reviews and photos and everything. So obviously I'm going to want to do that for my physician, any doctor.
Makes sense.
We've moved all different places during that time, and I constantly have to find a new doctor or a dermatologist, which I hadn't gone to at the time when I was trying to look for one. But yeah, if you have somehow not heard of ZocDoc before, they're a totally free app that shows you doctors that are patient approved and take your insurance and are available when you need them. There's a star rating. You can read reviews just like anything else that you'd be trying to look up on the internet. You can filter by what insurance they take, and you can even make appointments with them. So you can see what openings they have in their schedule in case one doctor is maybe not available at the time that you need one.
And you can do this all in the app?
You can do it all in the app.
Easy peasy.
Whether you're trying to straighten your teeth, fix an achy back, or anything else, ZocDoc pretty much has you covered. So go to ZocDoc.com/everything and download the ZocDoc app for free, and then start your search for a top-rated doctor today, because many are available within 24 hours.
That's ZocDoc.com/everything. ZocDoc.com/everything. Another thing that's just, I've noticed because we've been to baby showers the past 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Is how drastically my life has changed with all my friends in the past 4 years, because everyone's either married with kids or engaged
about
or
to have
about to
kids.
have kids. And it's just crazy how quickly your life changes with your friends. And it's really,
Oh yeah, it's funny now. Now I understand people who had kids that were watching us be pregnant and excited about it and thinking, "Oh yeah, it's not like things aren't going to be that different."
misery
Or, like,
loves company.
yeah, I mean, I still get not messages, but people will say, "Oh, it only gets worse from here," or "Wait till they're teenagers," or like there's just such a negative. I feel like perspective and mindset is everything.
Yeah.
And obviously you're going to have hard times raising children. You're literally raising human beings to hopefully be good people.
I think this weekend was a good like microcosm example of it. We went to Brooklyn for our friend's baby shower, and it was in a smaller place, and Melody just wanted to walk all around, which doing that in a place in Brooklyn isn't as easy.
Yeah, she wanted to keep walking out to the city streets.
Yeah, so she's just walking out constantly with her bread in hand. If you haven't seen the picture, you can go on my Twitter and Instagram, see the picture of her holding bread, just happily walking around. And there's no just going to a place anymore and chilling and talking to friends, having a drink. It's what's Melody doing? Let me make sure she's
I think
fine.
that was an example of a mindset though, because I remember the shower, we went to 2 showers back-to-back weekends.
Mhm.
The first shower was indoors. It was a big room, and I had to chase, like, me and you took turns chasing her around the room.
But it was easier for her to walk around.
It was easier, but also like I feel like I didn't have that.
And there was also more kids there for her to like.
Yeah. But also I felt like that like my mindset was not in it. I was not having a good time. I was just thinking, oh, woe is me. Everybody gets to like hang out and talk and drink, and I'm chasing a toddler around. And I know it's not always going to be like that when she gets older. But the second weekend, I went into it with a better mindset because I thought, like, we're gonna have to chase her around the whole time.
We were more expecting of
it. So instead of getting frustrated, trying to pick her up and constantly bring her back, and then her like kicking and screaming because she doesn't want to go back, I told because it was his friend's baby shower. I said, let me go there's a park across the street. I'll go take her there and tire her out. You go talk to your friends and I'll come back. My trade-off was I'll just come back and have wine. So at least I can go there and like, I had some wine.
Reward yourself with something.
Yeah. But then I tired her out, and we had a really nice time at the
it was
park.
much better than she came back.
I felt bad I wasn't at the shower, but it's our friends, both of our friends' first baby, obviously, because they're having a shower. Our one friends are talking about, like, Andy says how much he loves sleep. And I'm trying to be as positive as possible. Andy, if you're listening to this, like, you'll do great. But sleep is the first thing that goes.
Yeah.
It will come back. And when people tell you, I used to look up at what age did they start sleeping better? And I remember, I think it was like 6 to 7 months.
I think when she hit 8.
She still woke up once in the night, but
8,
that
9.
was manageable.
Yeah.
Like once or twice because we could swap off. But I remember seeing that number when you're in your first month or two and you see 6 months, you're like, oh my God, I'm not going to last this too long.
It's definitely tough. The first 6 months, I think, have been the toughest.
Yeah.
For sure.
I always tell people the first 2 weeks were the absolute worst for me.
Yeah.
But obviously because I was going through my body and hormones getting back to normal. So I was not a normal person. Then I think after like 3 months, I started feeling more comfortable. After 6 months, I started not being a zombie. And then after 8 to 9 months, I felt pretty much back to normal and felt like I could start exercising.
Once she started taking consistent naps and sleeping through the night, everything changed. There was like big milestones. Once we got her out of our room into her own room, that was huge because we didn't have to be ninjas creeping into our bed anymore.
Once she stopped sleeping in the swing and we could put her in the crib for naps too, that was huge. Or the bassinet or whatever.
And then once we
take the little
then when we figured out that we can just put her in the crib and she'll cry herself to sleep. No, not cry herself, but like
I was say that sounds terrible.
Soothe herself, self-soothe herself.
Yeah, there's a whole you have to learn
the
Ferber method, cry it out I never wanted to do. It's basically trying to teach them to soothe themselves. But yeah, it kind of just happened one night. She did not want us to hold her.
Yeah,
so it would have been different if she was calm when we held her.
Yeah, we'd usually hold her from anywhere from like 10 to 45
40
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah. So those are the hard parts.
Yeah.
For sure.
But then eventually she didn't want us to hold her anymore. And when we put her in the crib, she would eventually.
Yeah. She'll cry
to
for a
sleep.
little while. And we had, all right, at the 20-minute mark,
Yeah, you have
if she's
marked,
still
you're like-
hysterical, we'll
so that
go
they
in.
feel like they still, you don't
And
want
she
them to
started-
feel like nobody's there for them.
Yeah. And she started
the
calming
whole-
down around 15 minutes. And then it happened. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh, finally.
I also feel like, because I was once a person without a child and now a person with a child, I always tried to not judge parents, even though in my head, I'd say, I would never do that. How could you do that? And now I'm a parent. I'm like, I totally understand. I don't like, and whatever you need to do that works for you and your child. And
Whatever
your family,
keeps a kid happy, you
don't
let them
give
do
a
it.
crap about
Yeah.
if anybody's gonna judge you.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's not worth caring about somebody else over your own.
Yeah.
Your family.
We were in the beginning, we were like, oh, we're never going to let her watch TV, this and that.
Yeah.
And then we found Coco Melon.
Yeah.
And we haven't stopped watching Coco Melon since. I think we didn't really show her much until like the 6, 7 months.
She
mark.
also doesn't, she's not.
Well, she's not sitting there just
I
watching
think because
it.
we did expose her to it, it's not a cool new thing.
Yeah.
I feel like when you only show them little bits of TV, when you do show them, they're like, oh my God, what is
Yeah,
this?
it's like a treat.
Yeah. Whereas we kind of just like
I
have
think
it on around every
maybe
now and
because
then.
we would have The Office on or Parks and Rec, which are just, normal shows that just showing people doing stuff.
Yeah,
It's
we don't
nothing
use it as a
crazy.
babysitter is the key.
No, yeah.
We
It's
just,
good
every
background
now,
noise.
Yeah, it's a song. Every now and then she'll look at the song.
Which
and
is
then go
good
back to
about
what she's
Coco
doing.
Melon. If you don't know it, it's basically just
It's all
songs. And I think that's good. It's teaching her music and whatever she's seeing the kids in the show doing stuff. I think it's educational in a way, and it's helping her learn
Yeah.
music and
That
melody.
Miss Rachel's education.
Yeah. And we also watch Barney with her. Which
Yeah.
she's an old school baby.
She's
She
an
loves
old
Barney.
school nostalgia
Man.
baby.
One of her first words was Coco. And
Yeah.
then she started, instead of Barney, it was Marnie. Marnie, Coco Marnie. Those are her words.
Those are her words.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've tried to get better, and I feel like I'm getting better at, is just kind of being more patient with not only her, but myself, and trying to better handle stressful situations and learn, okay, if she's cranky about we're taking something away from her, give her something else to distract her, and learning these little tactics that help.
When we're out in public, you get more stressed.
Yeah.
Where I could not care less. Because I'm like, I'm one of those moms now that if she's having a meltdown in the store, I do not care about anybody else looking at me. You can look at me all you want.
We even said that to ourselves, to each other this past weekend, is that we're glad we're bringing her to more things because it's teaching us. It's teaching us how to handle situations, how to deal with it. So when we do have to bring her somewhere, we're not like, oh no.
You have to go into it with the mindset of, this is probably going to be exhausting. This sounds so bad.
Go
It's going to be
with a
exhausting. We're
pessimistic
going to be
mindset.
chasing. Yes. And then so you go into it, you're like, okay, how can I make this more enjoyable for me, for her, for whatever? And that's why when I saw the park, I was like, oh, lucky. When I see the wine, I'm like, oh, treat for me.
My reward. I don't know about you, but I feel like now I have like an invisible tether to her. I'm like more.
What does that mean?
For me, it's like I'm always kind of aware of what she's doing and where she is, and I feel like that's just going to carry on throughout her life.
I'm confused. I'm still confused.
What I'm trying to say is that I feel like she's like a part of me now. And like everything I do impacts her.
Oh yeah.
And I'm trying, and I'm much more like aware of where she is, what she's doing. It's been something that I've had to learn to do as well, is just how to handle her being around, whether we're out or in the house. Just having you have to always your third eye is always watching her, kind of. So
I gotcha.
That's like a new thing that people don't really tell you about, is how you don't feel whole anymore. You feel like some of yourself.
Yeah,
is,
that was one of I was trying to look up creepy parenting facts to jog my brain about what I wanted to talk about for this. But one of them was that you never, they gave the example of the parents going on a romantic trip together away, like no kids. And they said, even when they were there, it it was the same place they went to their honeymoon, and they were thinking about when they came for their honeymoon, and they said they just couldn't relax and enjoy it as much as they did on their honeymoon because the whole time all they're thinking about is, I hope the kids are okay.
Yeah.
I hope they're
They're
not
always
missing
in the
me.
back of your mind.
I hope, yeah, instead of just focusing on you,
Yep.
which I feel like never really goes away. It might get easier when your kids are adults, but you're always going to be wondering, oh,
Yeah,
they didn't call me today. Or,
Yep.
Are they all right? Like, I don't know how my mom did it when I lived in New York City. She said she was a nervous wreck the first,
I can imagine.
I would have been too.
Yeah.
It's just sending me to New York City. I was like, I've never lived there. That sounds fun.
It's that part of when they get, when your kids get that old, you just have to learn to let go and let them be the little
and hope that you
people
raised
they are.
them
Yeah,
well.
like, that's just life. And that goes with like when you see her experiencing like pain or sadness, you kind of want her to
that's one of the
experience it in a way. You don't want to like coddle her too much. And
that was one of the other scary things of being a parent, which is funny. And I want to transition to scary story stuff because we could probably talk about this forever. But I remember when she was first born, there's this period of time that you go through as a mom called the baby blues, which is like I said, the 2 weeks after you have the baby, your body is just trying to recover from what just happened and get your hormones back to normal. And I remember I would just start crying randomly because I was thinking about, what if somebody picks on her someday? She's so perfect. Or somebody else was holding her. I was like, oh, she's mine. Like I was the only one that had her and now I have to share her with other people. So one of the scary things about, I guess, being a parent now is you have to relive pain through your child because I remember in high school, even with my mom, like I had a boyfriend who cheated on me and she had to like work through that with me. I had friends who were mean to me and didn't invite me places. And like, I know usually as a parent, you just tell your kids, oh, well, you're perfect. Don't worry. Like, which is good. You should tell them that. But at the same time, I'm sure in the back of your head, you're just like furious. And there's nothing you can do. You're not going to go like yell at other children to play with your kid or.
Yeah, you're living vicariously through them in a way. And you have to experience the good and the bad with them. You get a lot of good, awesome things that's going to hopefully happen to your kids and you get to be part of that. But at the same time, yeah, like you just said, you're going to have to live with their pain. And even now, so for instance, when we were at the baby shower this weekend, she fell and hit her head and it looked bad to me because she like fell to her butt and she's usually good at falling. But for some reason,
she's usually good at falling.
Like she usually catches herself good or goes forward and stops herself. But for some reason she fell, went down, like hit her head real bad. And I'm right on top of her. And we try our best not to react when she gets hurt because it usually helps keep her calm. So I just remember looking at her and just her face, her locking eyes at me and just seeing her like experience the pain. And I'm like, oh God, what, like, did she get a concussion? Is she bleeding? Is all these things go through your head? And, she was fine. She cried for a little bit. And that was when you actually took her to the park.
Yeah.
She was being hysterical because she just kept wanting to walk out. And then she like stumbled over something and then fell. But I think it's funny enough. Some like Destiny streamer that I watched said something about how when he was a kid, he would like, play outside, play in the dirt, eat dirt. And he got all these like germs and sicknesses and it made him tough because he says now he like never gets sick.
Yeah.
So it's that fine balance of you want your kids
I think you're more cautious with that stuff than I am because I'll just let her do something and he's like, no, that's disgusting. I'm like, it's dirty. She's outside.
Yeah.
It's nature.
I think it's
better than her licking like a public bus seat. Like it's not like I would let her do that. But if she's outside, I'm a little more like it's nature.
I think I've become a lot more protective over her and you now. And I feel like I have to protect you guys a lot more. And I think it's hard to go with that mindset, but also at the same time, let stuff happen to her, let her experience all these emotions so that she's not coddled, so that when she goes to school or has friends and things happen to her, it's not the first time she's experiencing these emotions.
Yeah.
Hopefully, and she can handle them a little bit better.
That's why it's good to teach your kid about losing.
Yes. That's why I think sports are very good for kids and not the mindset that I've heard about where everyone's a winner now, because you have to learn to lose. You have to learn how to work with your team and overcome obstacles. And sometimes you're not going to win. Most times you're not going to win in life. And I think that's one of the hard things going on in our society lately is I feel like people are more coddled and, oh, you're okay, everyone's a winner. And no, not everyone is a winner. You're eventually hopefully gonna be a winner, but you
gotta
have
work at it.
But you have to go through losing. You have to learn to lose. And that is a very important skill that I think is being lost in society today, is that people aren't learning how to lose. So hopefully Melody will learn how to lose like a winner. You want to learn how to lose like a winner.
I lost a lot in life.
But now look
cool.
at you.
I'm cool.
I'd say you're a winner now.
Maybe that's because it made me, you have to push harder.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not good at A, B, and C.
You can't
So
just,
I either need to get better at those things or find something else.
yeah, and that's a lot of the
Which
times.
is what I did.
That's it. Sometimes you can't do something. Sometimes
Like I was a bench warmer. For
Yeah.
4
I wasn't
years trying to play basketball.
I was always an average player at sports. So I was either on like playing or sitting. So I learned that if I wanted to be a starter, I had to, step it up. I didn't step it up enough sometimes.
I was
But
saying, did you become a starter?
sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes. Yeah, I was like right on the border of it, and that was tough. But I think for me, that was a good learning experience that if I wanted to be better, I now know what it takes to be the best.
The main part about parenting that I'm now experiencing is that it's terrifying to meet other parents for some reason. Like I just can't, even when we go to the play group, I literally, there was one girl, she was like playing with her daughter, and I was like, oh, how old is she? And she like, I guess didn't hear me, but didn't say anything. And I was just like,
okay.
Didn't answer at all. So I'm assuming she didn't hear me, because otherwise that's brazen to not answer somebody that was trying to like make conversation with you. But yeah, I don't know. I get flashbacks. This is a bad comparison, but I get flashbacks of going to the dog park with Dexter.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
not
the
a
same
bad
thing, because
example.
like if your kid accidentally hurts somebody else's kid,
yeah, you're responsible.
their immediate reaction is like, oh my God, like get your kid away.
Yeah.
But not to say Melody's done that. She's too young. Well, they're too young. Like,
Yeah.
that's why if another kid accidentally hurts Melody, my immediate reaction is like, oh my God, that kid hurt my daughter. But then I take a second to be like, that kid is really young and has no idea what they're doing.
As long as that kid's still being a kid and not being belligerent about it.
Yeah.
I almost want her to like experience that, a kid to, bump into her and she falls down, and just, you got to learn how to, that's going to happen.
But that's why I'm terrified of like other parents.
Oh yeah.
Because
You don't
especially
know
when
how
we were
they're
at the
gonna be.
dog park, there would be instances where
Yeah.
other dogs would instigate Dexter, or most of the time Dexter stayed out of it. So we were a little lucky, but there was other people's dogs that would have issues, and the parents, instead of taking responsibility, there would always be one that was super defensive and like blaming it on the other dog. I'm like, they're dogs.
Yeah.
What are you? Yes, if your dog is not good with other dogs, don't bring your dog to the park. Yes, that is on you.
Yeah. Or be with them and like,
Yes. But there was a couple times somebody's dog was clearly not good with other dogs, and then they were blaming the other people with their
Yeah.
dogs. And I'd be like, what?
well,
Do you not see this? I can tell when a dog is not good with other dogs. There's nothing wrong with that dog, but they shouldn't be going to the dog park.
it was funny when we had
We
Dexter.
stopped going to the dog park because it was just too much.
When we had Dexter in New York, I feel like a lot of the dog parents there were better.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Even when I went to the park with Melody, we were
Yeah.
watching them play and there was no problems. And even the people would go up to the other person and say, is that okay that they're playing like that? I heard that conversation and they were like, oh yeah, thank you for checking. No.
Yeah.
I mean, like when we went to New Jersey, people are just like,
especially with the dogs, like
they just don't want to pay attention to their dog for a
Yeah.
couple minutes. They're like, yeah, go play. I'm going to like go do something else.
yeah, I don't know what it was.
Which there
but-
will be parents like that.
and
as
we
well.
stopped going to the dog park because it was just the majority of, there was just too many bad dog parents there.
Yeah. I mean, get ready.
And it can
'cause-
happen so quick.
Get ready there because there's a lot of bad
Oh yeah, I know.
parents
Yeah,
too.
that'll be the
Kid parents.
every
Who-
age month. There's a new challenge to face, and that's just
Maze, but we have this meme just between us that's like Maze, buddy. Because when we were in Canada, we went on a trip and we went to an ice hotel, and this kid was literally like jumping in front of kids that were younger than him. Like there's an ice slide, and he would just like cut in front of them, push push them behind, go in front of them, and adults. There was even adults there that this kid would just, and instead of like yelling at your kid or being like, hey, and he was old enough. You'd be like,
or like
don't
removing
do
him
that.
from the
That's
situation.
really rude. You need to like teaching him a lesson in waiting and being patient. Instead they're like, they're standing from like a distance drinking beer. They're like, hey, Mace, buddy, don't do that, okay? And the kid's like, okay, and then like would do it again. We're all standing there just staring at the parents. Like,
all right, let's get away from this Mace character.
Let's get away from this Mace guy.
Yeah, that was funny.
Hey, Bobby, you know what's really creepy?
Skin?
Skin is really creepy.
It is.
But even though skin is creepy, you need to take care of it.
You absolutely have to.
It's part of you. It's important.
It's the biggest organ on our body.
It is.
In, on, and around.
In, on, and around. Not only that, it's really creepy when you feel overwhelmed by all the different products out there to help you with your skin.
There's quite a lot. We went shopping yesterday and there's a lot of products there.
We went shopping yesterday and it reminded me of how many products there are.
I was overwhelmed by the copious amounts of products that were just in front of me.
I mean, whether you're shopping for cereal or toilet paper, there are just so many options and it's hard to know which one is best for you.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to skin. I mean, personally, especially being a female, a woman, there's even more skincare options, I feel like, than even, I mean, you feel overwhelmed when you're trying to find something for your skin. And mine's like doubled because they have tripled.
Quadrupled.
Yeah, there's so many. It's like you could do a cheaper version, a more expensive version. This one has this scent. This one has this scent. This one's supposed to be for acne. This one's supposed to be, you get the point. There's
a lot.
So many, and I don't know which one is going to work for me. And that's why we're super excited to partner with Apostrophe, who's the sponsor of today's episode. Apostrophe is an online platform that connects you with an expert dermatology team to get customized acne treatment for your unique skin. Simply fill out an online application about your skin goals and medical history, then snap a few selfies, and a board-certified dermatologist will create your first customized treatment plan. So we both got our boxes.
We did.
And I was super excited. The boxes are so cute. They come with little stickers and a postcard. It feels really personalized.
Yeah.
Your name is like on the products.
Yeah. And instructions are simple and easy, and they tell you exactly what to do or what to change up if it's not quite working a certain way.
And it's a lot easier than having to go to the pharmacy and standing in line to have an annoyed pharmacist just hand it over to you. You don't get stickers or a postcard or a cute little box.
Nope. None of that.
Those are things that matter to me, okay? Yeah. I'm a simple person.
Yeah, it was nice. I got mine, and I got my treatment that is pretty simple and easy to use. It's already something that I was already using, and now I can just try this new treatment out and see how it does for me. And I also got a nice, easy sunscreen to use as well.
And even more exciting, we have a special deal for our audience.
Woohoo!
Get your first visit for only $5.
What?
At apostrophe.com/ZSide when you use our code ZSide. That's a savings of $15. And this code is only available to you, our listeners.
Special. To get started, just go to apostrophe.com/ZSide and click begin visit. Then use our code ZSide at sign up and you'll get your first visit for only $5.
What?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's awesome. Thank you very much to Apostrophe for sponsoring this episode. We appreciate it. My skin appreciates it. And I hope all your skin as well appreciates it.
So actually, this episode of the podcast that we're filming right now is the first episode that we are filming after the launch of the podcast. The first 2 episodes we filmed before the podcast was launched. So we just want to say thank you so much for all of the positive support that we've gotten. If you haven't yet, please try to review us on whatever platform you are listening on, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and any of those platforms. Reviewing us helps a lot. And we also get to hear your feedback, whether that be good or bad, but most of it's been good. I'd say almost all of it's been good.
Keep it coming. It helps us. We want that constructive criticism or just, wow, you guys are awesome. This is great.
Yeah. Because it keeps us going.
Yeah.
It fuels us.
It fuels us. Your love and hate fuels me.
And if you're a listener on, YouTube, then you probably know the deal already. Subscribing, liking, leaving comments below. That all helps a lot as well. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
I had some quick little super creepy stories I thought you would appreciate. Bobby has not heard these yet.
Lay them on me.
And then I have a special voicemail message from one of you guys, which we'll talk about how you can do that later. But first, scary things kids have said. My 8-month-old son woke up at 2 a.m, laughing hard, staring right into the baby camera. That's all I got. But I was reading that I wanted to read that so that we could, we already told you about her growling.
Her dinosaur.
She was younger than that though. She was like 6 months.
Yeah.
No, even younger, I think 4 or 5 months when she started growling. But there has been times where looking at the baby monitor is very scary because I'm always wondering if I'm going to see something that I don't want to see. Yeah. Like a demon.
Yeah.
I have not seen
That's probably
one
of my most common reoccurring fears is seeing someone in her room.
I had a dream one night that somebody was in her, that I was looking at her monitor and somebody was in her room, like picking her up.
Yeah.
And then I woke up and then looked at the monitor.
Yeah, I've had similar
like I didn't know
things.
what was real and what wasn't. And then I looked at the monitor, had to stare at it for a good couple of minutes before I realized nobody was there and it was a dream. But yeah, that happens, which is super fun. But then also your baby can be really creepy and start staring at the camera.
Yeah. Well, because it's night vision,
like
so there's a little light. So I think they see that and they're like, oh, what's that little light? Staring at it.
She did used to laugh in the middle of the night when she would sleep in our room or when we were really paying attention. I feel like we haven't heard her laugh in her sleep in a while. But there was times we were like, I had the monitor really loud next to me because I wanted to hear every little thing at the start. And she would definitely do this. It's super creepy.
Yeah.
It's cute,
but
creepy.
I've seen various examples of kids being creepy like that.
Yeah. But yeah, baby monitor is not my favorite thing. Like necessary, but not my favorite thing to look at. I always get really scared.
Well, it's been ruined by,
also
movies.
the security. I mean, it's anything. When I look at our security cameras at night too, I'm always expecting to see like somebody standing in the yard or somebody like walking around our house without me knowing. Great. Things to give you anxiety at night if you have security cameras. Like, what if you pulled up the camera and there was just a face? I always worry about the basement camera.
Yep.
That there's just going to be like somebody is there.
It's just irrational fears.
Yep.
It's just that, I don't know.
But like, who would do that? If somebody was going to break in the house, would they just like stand? They're like, I'm going to scare her first by standing in front of this camera until maybe she sees it.
Yeah. Or like when I scroll through to see like what's happened, I'm just always afraid of like seeing someone like walking or down here or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2, I was playing Got Your Nose with my 2-year-old nephew, which is a weird game all in itself when you think about it.
Well, you do the little like.
Yeah. And the power went out. The whole house was pitch black. And he says to me, "Did you take my eyes?"
That's awesome. Where are my eyes?
But what? Like, I remember the take your nose thing and we thought it was funny, but like thinking about it, like somebody just took your nose off your face. Why is that not scary to a kid?
They didn't have much entertainment back in the olden days besides,
oh,
look, it looks like I have a nose in my hand here.
It doesn't even look like. I guess
Got
to a kid.
your nose. Yeah, to a kid it does.
Story number 3. When my 2-year-old daughter and I moved into our first home, she once came over and gave me a hug with her arms really tight around my neck. I pulled away and said, "Ow, why did you do that?" She pointed across the room at nothing and said, "That man's doing it to that other man."
Ah! I got chills. Yeah, I am very worried about that happening with Melody and her seeing ghosts.
I'm both excited and worried about it.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll be exciting if I'm in a place where if I'm alone
she
and she
said
does
like
that.
hi sometimes randomly to things.
Oh God, it started. It's begun.
I think she's just.
Well, they always say that toddlers and babies can see things that.
I know, it's very interesting to me, and like if that's a real thing or not, but I don't know. It could just be their imagination. It could just be like.
It could be. It could be something they heard or saw, and they just misinterpreted it. Yeah, or their imagination. I feel like kids' imaginations are.
Well, I mean, that's
bigger.
like when kids have imaginary friends and all that.
Also, this is one of my biggest fears. Like when we were buying this house, was going into a house, like moving into a house and then some creepy stuff happening and just being stuck because now you have this house. Has not happened. This house is good.
Been good.
Both houses, the first house only had one owner, and I think this house only had one owner.
Two.
Two? Okay. Nobody died as far as we know in this house. There is a rock wall over there that we tried to open and haven't. And I keep saying, what if something's in the rock wall that we're not supposed to?
Yeah, our house was built in the 80s and there was supposed to be all this futuristic tech and it had thermal heat. What's it called? Where they have all the rocks. Thermal heating?
Thermal heating, yeah.
That basically like
you put rocks.
A whole
under
pile
your
of
house.
rocks are supposed to like heat and cool your house. So in our downstairs, in between like the two areas, there's probably like a 12 by 12 room all full of rocks. And I had initially asked our contractor to try and get to it from the top. But for some reason, probably because this subthermal heating, our whole entire living room has a concrete slab. So he couldn't go through it from the top.
It's because somebody was hiding something in the rocks.
So yeah, it could be,
Why else would they need a concrete slab above it? Well, I guess because it's rocks, but
yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Oh, this one also, I have a story attached to it, personal story. I was asleep on the couch when I suddenly had the feeling someone was watching me. I opened my eyes and there was my 3 and 4-year-olds standing next to my face. They smiled and said, "We were watching you."
Oh God. We were watching
Which
you,
again
mommy.
is such like a
Innocent.
wholesome, innocent thing, but
isn't that a weird feeling when you feel like you're being watched?
Yeah.
How? What is that's just some sort of magic we're not really tapped into?
Some magic.
Some part of our
Just
brain that we can't.
Telekinetic connections with other human beings.
I like to know that.
Or animals. No, my mom, I used to do this to my mom all the time because I was worried about upsetting her by waking her up at night. So instead, I thought it was better for me to like stand right next to her and just wait for her to naturally wake up and see me.
What?
In my brain, I was like, I don't want to wake her up. So I'll just stand next to her. And in the event that
she would got like, "Oh, Lauren.
Yeah.
What are you doing?" "I've been here for 3 hours. I wet the bed."
In the event she would naturally wake up, I could be like, "Oh, Mom, I need you." So I would stand there.
"Mom, I need some water." "How long have you been here?" 4 hours.
Which I realize in retrospect is even worse than just going over and be like, "Mom, I need you." So get ready for that if she takes after me.
Great. I'll tell her to.
We'll watch the
Wake
camera
me up.
footage. It'll be like Paranormal Activity. You'll just see her like standing next to us swaying like for an hour.
Yeah. And then finally wake up. I'm like, "Oh, I had a bad dream.
I had a bad dream.
I didn't want to wake you though.
I was just watching.
You're just too
sleep.
polite."
I was too polite. Okay, the last story I have. One day, my son stared at the corner and asked, "Why is that man watching us? And why is his head like this?" Then he yanked his head at a sharp angle, similar to how a hanging victim would look. Needless to say, it freaked me out.
Wait, say that one again?
So they were out at a corner. Like they were out on the street.
Okay.
And he pointed to a corner and he said, "Why is that man watching us? And why is his head like this?" And the kid went like this.
Yeah.
And he said it reminded him of like when somebody was like hanging, like died from hanging like this.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Did the parents see the
it.
person as well, hopefully?
No, they did not see
the parent didn't see the person.
Yeah.
Chills are back. They got it, right? Dogs, I feel like dogs.
Sorry, I should have specified. He saw a man that was not seen by the parent across the street.
That makes it a lot creepier. Yeah.
He just saw a man across the street like, "Hey.
Hey guys, I got
What's
a
up?
thing with my neck. He's hanging."
I got a thing with my neck."
Yeah, there's got to be something to dogs and little kids seeing things that we can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've heard from other stories that people who take certain types of drugs kind of like tap into another world and they see things that aren't there normally. So maybe kids and dogs have access to this world, and then when they
Kids and dogs. Oh, yeah,
Kids and
dogs
dogs.
too. I forgot. Like pets can see things sometimes, or they say things.
I think they hear because they hear so much better. Maybe they hear stuff. So they're
They
like,
could. And lastly, if you didn't know, we've mentioned before, there's a call-in number. And if you feel comfortable, it's only voice. Nobody's going to pick up. Don't worry. I know how scary it is to talk on the phone. Trust me. I'm the same.
I'm going to pick up.
Bobby's going to.
Hello, what?
And be very
What do you
annoyed.
want?
It's a voicemail a voicemail, or they even get text messages too. But the number is 929-390-8464. And you can call it and leave a voicemail with your voice of a story or a topic that you want us to talk about. But for example, just to kick off the voicemail bit, we hadn't included this yet because we were still working on getting our podcast all good to go for you guys. But I did find this one, which kind of is around this topic today. So I wanted to play it and then talk about it a little bit.
Hi, Lauren and Bobby. I'm a huge fan, Brooke, and I just wanted to say that lullabies are actually really creepy. For example, Ring Around the Rosie, it's actually based off of the plague and how, like, kids were dying from the plague, and maybe you guys could do, like, a little more information seeking about that and feature it in your next episode. Anyways, love from Miami, Florida.
Thank you, Brooke from Miami, Florida.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I wanted to dive a little deeper into that subject.
No.
At first, I was going to do a whole episode on it, but I don't know if there's enough for us to talk about from personal experience for it. So I thought it would fit into parenting because we literally hear the same nursery rhymes and lullabies over and over and over again.
Yep.
And
thanks, Coco Melon.
Yeah. And Brooke for now making me look further into these because some of these have dark backstories that I was unaware of.
Yeah, I think I've heard about this before.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of the first one that Brooke talked about in her voicemail. It was Ring Around the Rosie. I do know what this is about. Do you know what it's about?
I'm sure I've heard it, but, you know.
Okay.
The years have not been kind to my memory.
So, yeah, especially if you're a parent, you're never going to look at these nursery rhymes the same ever again. Because now I'm not, and I have to hear them all the time. So Ring Around the Rosie is theorized, I underlined, because there's been some people that have kind of debunked this and said that this was written like before what happened.
Oh, yeah.
It was theorized to be a poem all about the bubonic plague in London in the 1600s. But it's theorized because they kind of found out that the song was written before the bubonic plague. So, but I don't know. It fits really perfectly. So
let's hear it.
So the Ring Around the Rosie referred to the itchy rash around the infected sore of a person that was sick with the plague. And people would call it like the ring around, I don't know, the Rosie, because it was like a ring rash. Pocket full of posies were the flower petals that plague doctors showered upon their deceased patients because it would help ward off odor.
Interesting.
And then ashes obviously meant that they had to cremate the remains of the deceased because of the disease. And it says, and yes, whether sick or not, we all fall down, as in like the end of our lives, we all fall down.
Yeah.
So that's
rather creepy.
Yeah.
Even if it was just like, where did that come from?
So,
why was that a song?
So then some people were saying that they think it might have been more innocent, like children that played around rose bushes in France in like the 1800s. I don't know. I don't know what the timeline was there. Yeah. I'm just speaking. But they said it might just be about a bunch of kids that were dancing around a rose bush.
A lot
and
of
like
things
fell down for fun.
From the olden days are creepy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that a lot of the songs, I know there's the one in The Office that like Dwight sings to them. Yeah, it's like, know your rules, better learn your rules. If you don't, you'll be eaten in your sleep.
Oh yeah, there's way worse. Well, I tried to I found ones from other countries that never really like made it over here, so most people won't know them, but there's some really messed up ones. Especially the German ones. I hate to say. They wanted to keep the German kids alive.
They wanted to scare
them. Baba Black Sheep,
really?
Which I pointed out, I don't know if it was to my mom or to you, but I thought the song was a little racist. And then I looked up the meaning and it kind of might be.
Okay.
So most scholars agree that Baba Black Sheep is about the Great Custom, which was a tax on wool that was introduced in 1275. That's what most scholars agree it's about. So not racist, but about a wool tax. Okay. But a lot of people, because they use the color black to define one of the sheeps and the word master, which is what I pointed out, because it says like one for the master and one for the dame, which is a girl, which I don't even know if that's a derogatory word for women anymore. I don't know. I'm a woman. I don't even know. But master hits me the wrong way because I'm like, master of what? What is it? The master of the sheep? What is it? An actual sheep?
Master of coin.
It led some to wonder whether there was a racial message at its center. Its political correctness was called into question yet again in the latter part of the 20th century, with some schools banning it from being, I didn't know this, from being repeated in classrooms, and others simply switching out the word black for something deemed less offensive, like a different color. Oh, they reported on maybe calling it Baba Rainbow Sheep as an alternative. I mean, I think that's stretching a little bit. You could just say like pink, purple. Well, I will say Coco Melon has this song and they do a better, it's still Baba Black Sheep is the first one, but then it basically goes through and changes color.
It's
so they're basically, they're kind of just saying like, it's just another color.
Yeah.
But I get it. It would be, or blue. Just say it's a blue sheep.
Yeah, well, that's what they say in Coco Melon.
Baba Blue Sheep.
Yeah.
There you go. We fixed the song for you.
Yeah.
Or Rainbow Sheep. I feel like that's too many syllables.
Just
that's
say
the only
sheep.
reason.
Baba sheep. Have you any wool? One for you and another for me. There you go. Change it up.
Beautiful. So the next one is, which I also kind of knew about, which was London Bridge is falling down.
I was going to mention this one.
I only learned about this because when I went to London a couple years before the pandemic.
Yeah, maybe you told me about this. Maybe that's how I knew.
Yami told me to go to the London dungeons with her and gave me no context to what that was. I loved it. So, but it's basically like a haunted house. But instead of just getting scared by random stuff, you're getting scared by history, which I think is genius. Like could you imagine they had that here? It would upset so many people.
Yeah, well,
but I would kind of like it because it would show like more of the truth of like the dark parts of our history,
the dark side.
But it basically like I'll give London credit. Or England, they have a couple because we went to the York. You went to the York ones with us. But each city has its own like dark history, and they have the dungeons there that basically tell you about, like, scare you and teach you things about the dark history of England.
Put things in perspective. Like, you think it's bad now?
Yeah.
Look how it used to be.
This guy used to kill people and put them in pies and feed them to the rest of the people, and nobody knew. Yeah, so...
I also always thought it was London bridges. Like, there was multiple.
No, London Bridge. There's one.
Yeah.
But I learned in the dungeons, they talked about the plague. And then they also talked about, there was the reason why they don't, you're learning so much in this podcast. Let me just tell you, the reason that houses in England started getting made with stone and brick was because they used to be made with wood, and there was a fire, and it basically like took out all of London because everything was made of wood. So after that, they were like, all right, we need to make everything of stone and brick so this doesn't happen again. But in also learning that they kind of said, which is weird because, so they said that had to do with the original bridge, I believe, coming down because the original bridge was made with wood.
Okay.
But that, it kind of makes sense because the full London Bridge song I never knew until Coco Melon. Because then they said, build it up with iron bars. And then they're like, iron bars, we have none. So then they go through all the materials you could maybe make the bridge out of. So that's one take of it. Okay. But the main take that people think it's about.
What do the scholars say?
Yeah, is about a Viking attack in 1014. Oh, so there's three. The Viking attack in 1014, they think maybe it's about a child sacrifice, which is also fantastic, or a normal deterioration of an old bridge. But the most popular theory seems to be the first one, which is more specifically the alleged destruction of the London Bridge at the hands of Olaf II of Norway sometime in the early 1000s. It says alleged because some historians don't think this attack ever took place. Well, which is it? Was the attack real? Or
a lot of history is shrouded in mystery. Kind of rhymed.
The song's popularity around the world is often cited as further proof that it was the Vikings who created it because they traveled around the world. Yep. Believing that they brought the tune to the many places they traveled. And the whole child sacrifice thing, that's an idea that is often debated as there's no archaeological evidence to support it. But the theory goes that in order to keep London's bridge upright, its builders believed that it must be built on the foundation of human sacrifice.
Oh,
And that's the same,
goodness.
and that those same humans, mostly children, would help to watch over the bridge and maintain its sturdiness. Sounds legit.
Oh my God. Oh man, that's creepy.
Well, I feel like watching Game of Thrones now,
Mm-hmm.
because
Go on.
we're very late to watching Game of Thrones because we started watching House of Dragon and then now we're like, oh, maybe we should actually watch Game of Thrones. We're like the hipster people that come in later when everybody else is done watching it. But I feel like watching that because it's kind of a depiction of old time. I could totally see people being like, you know what would keep this bridge upright? Human sacrifice.
Oh, yes, my lord.
They're like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's do that.
Bring me the children.
But yeah, like first I'd read that, I'd be like, that can't be true. And then now I'm watching Game of Thrones, which apparently is pretty close, similar and or close to how things actually ran back in medieval times. So I'm like, yeah.
Pretty sure it mirrors a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, it's probably happened. Here we go around the mulberry bush. This is a more simple one.
Okay. What's a mulberry bush?
A mulberry. It's a thing.
I don't know what it is.
I know, I don't either.
It's just a berry?
Berry.
Oh, can you eat it?
And you can mull it.
Great. Thank you. I learned so much.
According to historian R.S. Duncan, a former governor, why do I need to know any of this?
Nope.
The song originated with a 420-year-old institution's female prisoners. Oh, so in England, that's why it was important to read that. It was the governor of England's prison.
Okay.
So in that prison, it was a female prison, and the way that they would exercise was running around a mulberry bush.
Oh, wonderful.
Which is probably not the connotation your 6-year-old self had in mind. So yeah, here we go around the mulberry bush is about female prisoners that were trying to get exercise.
Yeah, makes sense. Ish. Creepy. Another creepy.
Yeah, the last couple are like
song.
very simple creepy. I did the more complicated ones. This one I already knew. It's raining, it's pouring. Do you know this?
It's raining, it's pouring. I guess he died.
Yeah.
Oh. He died.
Oh, you sang it and you're like, oh.
He fell off his horse and
he bumped his head and went to bed and couldn't get up in the morning.
Yeah,
he couldn't get up in the morning because he died.
Dead. Because he had a concussion.
And he was an old man and it was raining. So
and
nobody.
The NFL's concussion protocols weren't up to date back then. Like they are now.
And then the last one, which I always thought was a creepy song just in general, and there's no creepy connotation to it. It's just a weird song to sing to your children.
Is what?
Rockabye Baby.
Rockabye baby on the treetop.
You're making it even creepier.
When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. And it's like, and down will come baby.
It says,
cradle.
when the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, and down will come baby, cradle and all. Your baby just fell out of a tree.
The baby won't fall asleep. Let's go put it on the tree. That old one that's broken, it'll be fine. Look, it's rocking back and forth. It's fine. It's the baby's falling. Now we have a song.
To teach people not to put their babies in trees.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Don't put your baby in a tree.
Don't.
Now you have the snoo and you have swings. That's why those were invented. Oh.
For anyone who has used the snoo, that's all you hear.
That's what the inside of a womb sounds like. True story, not making that up. I knew these first couple topics were going to be long.
What would you say is the creepiest thing about parenting for you so far? I mean, I'll be...
Oh, I know. I give myself anxiety because I picture like the absolute worst case scenario that could happen to our daughter everywhere she goes.
Yep.
So in my head, mentally, I'm living through all these horrific moments one after another, but nobody will ever know or see it because they didn't actually happen.
Remember last night when you were like,
no.
oh, you can't fall asleep?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what are you thinking about? And I was like,
and you wouldn't tell me.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking about.
Something terrible happening to her?
Just multiple things. One thing snowballs to another. And that's what I was going to say too. And that's what my friend Ian had said, that he, like, his biggest fear is just like having, I mean, you know, as a parent, your biggest fear is your kid dying, but like he's just kind of said that you just have this constant fear that your kid's gonna die from one of a million different ways that they're.
I think my biggest fear is somebody
susceptible to.
taking her.
Yes.
Like that's my absolute, like I don't
Yep.
I don't feel comfortable anybody taking her like out of this house without me right now. Which makes things probably harder or will, but I'm hoping at some point. I feel like it's so far away, but I feel like at some point when I can teach them not to like go with strangers or whatever.
I'm just gonna implant the Apple tag into her.
I was thinking of that the other day. That's crazy. I was like, I need to buy those when I was feeding her at night. This is where I have all the thoughts. Like,
Oh, yeah,
and we're
same.
not even up there for that long. I'm usually up there for like 10 minutes. Just
Yeah, you have
feeding
some
her.
crazy thoughts when I'm because you're
When
just
I'm feeding her
alone in a dark room
alone
for
in
5 to 10
in
minutes
darkness with her.
as she's drinking milk.
And all I was thinking was, oh, I should buy an Apple luggage tag. And then I'm thinking in my head, like, where could I put it on her that nobody would see that it was there?
No,
You'd have to get her like something with pockets.
they're gonna find it.
Yeah, but not immediately.
When she's older, they'll have microchips.
Microchips.
Track her.
Then I was thinking, I literally was thinking about this. This is so funny that you brought it up because I was thinking about, I was like, what if we put it in like her stroller or a car seat in case like somebody ever stole
It would have to be like sewn in like little pockets. In
Yeah,
all
you
her
would have to
clothes.
sew it in all of, that's a very expensive wardrobe.
Yeah, everything has a Apple tag.
I also want to put an Apple tag on Dexter.
Yeah,
He doesn't go far though.
no,
He
he's
doesn't
not
wanna
even
leave us.
microchipped.
Yeah.
So I've always thought about how different our world and life would be if. Imagine if men could also get pregnant. If it was,
I knew you were going to bring this up.
I was trying to think of a good way to bring this up.
To segue into this. There is no good way to segue into
So just think about that. Think about how different a lot of things in our world would be if both men and women could get pregnant. I think our society and world and everything would be quite a lot different.
I think it'd be better.
Probably. I think it would be as well.
But who knows? Maybe it would be worse. I don't
So
know.
I just want to leave everyone with that thought. Just think about that. If there was a 50-50 chance of if both men and women could be pregnant.
Let us know your thoughts on that.
No,
Let
don't let
the
me know.
government
Just let it
know.
mull over in your head.
We'll let the government know. We'll see if we can figure that out.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up. This is good talk forever. I know you guys would like that, but
That was my wrap up.
that was your wrap up.
Yep. Now you say the thing.
Our ending thing.
Our ending phrase.
Is it? And remember,
Everything is creepy.